Have you ever wondered about China's intentions in the South China Sea? Recent events have been painting a picture that's hard to ignore. Chinese aircraft carriers sailing back into contested waters shadowed by Japanese destroyers, confrontations between Chinese vessels and Philippine civilian boats raising the temperature in an already heated region. And amidst all these, a Russian submarine docking in Indonesia, as if adding another layer to an intricate geopolitical chessboard. All these raise a question: what's really going on? So let's delve deeper into China's military capabilities to understand the potential implications. China's military prowess is no secret. As one of the world's superpowers, China has been consistently ramping up its military might. But what does that look like on paper, and how is it being applied in real-world scenarios like the South China Sea? Let's start with the naval power. The People's Liberation Army Navy, or PLAN, boasts a diverse fleet that includes everything from aircraft carriers to destroyers. Just a few days ago, the world witnessed the PLAN's aircraft carrier, the CNS Shandong, sailing from the Philippine Sea back into the South China Sea. This short yet strategic deployment, although not explained by China, certainly raised eyebrows. But it's not just about the size of the fleet. China's advancements in technology have been equally impressive. They're not just investing in traditional military hardware, but also in cutting-edge technology that could redefine warfare. This includes artificial intelligence, cyber warfare capabilities, and advanced missile systems, making their military force a formidable one. But what makes China's military capabilities even more intriguing is the strategic deployment of resources. In the South China Sea, for instance, they're not just relying on their navy. They're employing a multifaceted approach, using different forces like the Spratly Backbone Fleet, China Maritime Militia, and Coast Guard. By doing so, they're asserting dominance without resorting to direct military conflict. This strategy is not without its critics, though. As tensions escalate, China's aggressive actions against vessels from countries like the Philippines have come under scrutiny. But it's important to remember that military strategy is often about more than just firepower. It's about influence, control, and sometimes intimidation. While these facts and figures give us a glimpse into China's military capabilities, they only tell part of the story. The real test of military prowess is how it's used in the face of conflict and dispute. With this military muscle, what could be China's plans in the South China Sea? That's a question we'll delve into in our next segment. Scene script. China's activities in the South China Sea are not random. They are part of a larger strategic plan. Let's dive into this. China's strategy revolves around its territorial claims, most notably the 10-dash line. This line, drawn by China, encompasses nearly 90% of the South China Sea. It's a bold claim and one that has been the source of much tension and dispute. But territorial claims are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to China's strategy. The country has also been known to take aggressive actions towards other nations, particularly those who challenge its claims. The Philippines, for instance, has found itself on the receiving end of such actions. Chinese vessels have been reported to aggressively pursue Philippine civilian boats, escalating tensions in the region. China's approach in the South China Sea is multifaceted. It's not just about drawing lines on a map or sending military vessels. China also employs civilian forces in its efforts to assert dominance. The Spratly Backbone Fleet and the China Maritime Militia are two such forces that have been involved in confrontations with Philippine vessels. Furthermore, the People's Liberation Army Navy is increasingly active in the South China Sea. The recent deployment of the aircraft carrier CNS Shandong, accompanied by cruiser CNS Yan'an and destroyer CNS Zhangjiang, is indicative of China's intention to maintain a strong presence in the disputed waters. This strategy is a blend of military might and civilian presence, combined with an assertive stance on territorial claims. It's a complex approach designed to assert dominance without resorting to direct military conflict. But what if China decided to take things a step further? Imagine a scenario where China decides to attack 5 countries simultaneously in the South China Sea. In this hypothetical situation, China's potential targets could be the 5 countries with which it has ongoing territorial disputes in the region: the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan. Each of these countries has, at some point, locked horns with China over the sovereignty of various islands, reefs, and waters within the South China Sea. Now, let's delve into how China might orchestrate such an attack. A likely course of action could involve the People's Liberation Army Navy or PLAN. China's aircraft carrier, the CNS Shandong, could play a pivotal role, supported by cruisers and destroyers like the CNS Yan'an and CNS Zhangjiang. China might employ a multifaceted approach, using both its military and civilian forces. The Spratly Backbone Fleet and China Maritime Militia, for example, could be utilized alongside the Coast Guard and Navy. This strategy allows China to assert dominance without resorting to direct military conflict, a tactic that has been observed in its past confrontations in the South China Sea. But what might be the global repercussions of such an audacious move? Diplomatically, China would likely face condemnation from the international community, with the United Nations Security Council potentially imposing sanctions. Economically, the disruption of trade routes through the South China Sea could have a significant global impact, considering that a third of the world's maritime trade passes through this region. Militarily, it's possible the United States and its allies would respond. The US has a defense treaty with the Philippines and has shown commitment to Taiwan's security. Therefore, a direct attack on these countries might provoke a military response from the US, escalating the situation into a larger conflict. It's also important to consider that such an aggressive move by China could catalyze a regional arms race. Countries like Vietnam and Malaysia, feeling threatened, might opt to enhance their military capabilities, contributing to an increasingly volatile situation. A far-fetched scenario? Perhaps, but it does raise some serious questions. So we've delved into China's military capabilities, its strategy in the South China Sea, and a hypothetical scenario of a multi-front attack. In our exploration, we've seen that China's military prowess is formidable. It has been steadily modernizing its forces, expanding its naval fleet, and enhancing its capabilities in the air, on land, and in cyberspace. We've also noted the nation's robust strategic approach in the South China Sea, a strategy that is both multifaceted and complex. China's actions in this contested region have been marked by the use of both civilian and military forces. The nation employs a sophisticated blend of military posturing, economic leverage, and diplomatic maneuvering to assert its dominance. The implications of China's actions and strategies in the South China Sea extend far beyond the region itself. We've also speculated on a hypothetical scenario where China might launch simultaneous attacks on 5 different fronts. While such an eventuality seems unlikely given the current geopolitical climate, the mere possibility underscores the importance of understanding China's military strategies and capabilities. The South China Sea is a critical region for global trade and security. Its strategic importance, coupled with China's increasing assertiveness, makes it a potential flashpoint for future conflicts. Recognizing this, countries like the United States and the Philippines, among others, have been working to counterbalance China's influence. Yet, the situation in the South China Sea is incredibly complex, involving not just military strategies, but also issues of sovereignty, international law, and economic interests. It's a delicate balancing act that demands careful, informed, and strategic responses from the international community. In conclusion, understanding the dynamics of the South China Sea and China's strategies is not just a matter of academic interest, it's crucial to the security and stability of the region and, by extension, the world. While it's crucial to keep an eye on the unfolding events, it's equally important to engage in informed discussions. After all, knowledge is the first step towards understanding and action.